Hey everybody, welcome to Unpunched. I'm Keith and I'm here with Stephanie Kwok. Stephanie, where would people know you from?
So the company is called First Fish Games, and we have made 3 games so far. Our newest one being Ducks in Tow, which was designed by me. And so we have other games in the lineup, but so far we've only published 3 of them.
Nice. And whereabouts are you located?
We are from Vancouver, BC.
Great. All right. Just kind of curious, what got you involved with designing and publishing board games? What was your intention for that?
It's a little weird because I originally wasn't. It wasn't something I thought I would be doing. It was more my boyfriend and his best friend. They wanted to do it many years ago, but never really got into it and really hunkered down to do it. And then when we got together, like he was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and I'm like, sure, I can help in whatever way I can. And then we just decided, why not? Let's design a board game. If it becomes something, it becomes something. If not, then whatever. And so by the time we got designing our first game, we decided that we didn't want to just hand it over to another company to like publish it. We decided that we wanted to be the publisher, mostly because we like to be in control of things. So we wanted to do everything ourselves, and probably is a lot of more work than we expected, but we made the decision, so we're stuck with it now.
Well, I mean, it seems to be going all right so far. You have 3 games out, so
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Did you have any fond like memories early on playing board games that you really enjoyed?
So for myself, I actually was a video gamer when I was growing up. I didn't really get heavy into board games until my video game friends introduced me to some, gateway games like Catan and Dominion. And then once I got together with my boyfriend, he had his own collection already. And so I guess he was just very intrigued that I already knew board games. That's probably what made him interested. And then we kind of just got more games and more games together. So now we have a pretty big collection.
Nice. Yeah, it's always good to have someone who can share the hobby. So I definitely can relate to that. And so I guess after a while playing through and seeing a lot of games come out, that do you feel like there was a game that inspired you for your initial designs?
So we basically, for our very first game, what we did was we had specific things we liked in certain games, and we kind of took those and threw a different theme on it and kind of went from there. The biggest inspiration would probably be the longest road in Catan, because people are always fighting for it, and that is the part we like the most, is when people have to like fight over that. And so we took that and made them fences, so you're farmers and you're trying to fight over land, so you use pieces that look like just like the roads in Catan, but now they're being used as fences instead. So that was like one of the first things we kind of borrowed from another game and just put it into our own theme.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that was basically the inspiration for the Get Off My Lawn.
Get Off My Land. Actually, lawn is is from the movie.
Oh yes. Yes, get off my land. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, so what were some of the you had mentioned that there might have been some difficulties early on. What were some of the trials and tribulations you had to deal with making that transition to designing games?
Basically learning everything, because we had decided to be the publisher instead of just designers. We had to learn everything, like different materials, different costs for all the different things, talking to different manufacturers, talking about to freight companies, how to get the games from the manufacturer to your warehouse, to your customers, and whatnot. Learning all the logistics of everything was crazy. And I'm basically just learning from what I can find online, or meeting other industry people who have been doing it already, and so they helped a lot early on to guide me in the right direction. So I'm very thankful to them. But yeah, it was a lot of learning, and also learning on the go, and also learning after the fact as well. Like you're always learning, even though we've done 3 Kickstarters already. There's always something we missed or we forgot, that we were like, yeah, next time we're definitely not going to forget next time, and then you still forget.
Yeah, that's the awkward moment where everything doesn't fit in a box, and then you're just like, oh, I guess we're like a new box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that other people were helping you out. Uh, what makes the board game industry community just so like so helpful with each other? Why do you feel like that's the case?
I feel like it's such a it's a great community because everyone wants everyone else to succeed. There's no I've never seen anyone put anyone down, or have egos here and there or anything like that. No, everyone just wants everyone to succeed. So in that case, like, everyone just helps each other. Like, why me being successful has nothing to do with you being successful. So it's not like I'm going to try and drag you down. um there's no point. So everyone just helps everyone, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. It's been a very positive experience, and mostly I feel like just everyone wants to promote the hobby, and the more games
Everyone
are
just
out
wants to
there,
play games. Yeah,
yeah, the more,
exactly.
more games are out there. It's like, oh, great, I get to actually play the games that other
Hmm.
people are making.
Exactly.
Yeah. So why do you feel like other like regular consumers should look for and support independent game designers?
What do you mean by independent, like, game designer? Like,
Like not Parker Brothers or Monopoly, people who are making their own game and self-publishing, like you had mentioned. Why should
right.
people look for those projects?
um I feel like everyone's just trying to do their best and just make more games. So whether it's a big company or a small company, like, obviously the small ones struggle more because they don't have as much money to pay an artist or pay a graphic designer or whatnot. They have to either do it themselves or find some other solution. So it's always going to be harder for the small fries to try and compete with the big ones. But in the end, you're not really competing because everyone just wants to make games.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely a space for everyone. Um, so how would you think that we should make it a more inviting place for new designers to jump in?
I think the community is already very geared towards that. There's a lot of Facebook groups or things like that where new designers can ask for help or be like, hey, I have this idea, what do you think? And then yeah, there's tons of people who will give feedback in a non-judgmental way, which is great because you don't want to scare them away. you just want to help them make games, because the more games there are, the bigger the industry gets, the more popular board games get. And I mean, in the past, I don't know, 5-10 years, board games have gone crazy, like just because everyone's just willing to help each other and promote the industry.
Yeah, it's been pretty fantastic. Do you feel like just as a woman that your experience has been different getting into the board game design community? Do you feel like you see very many other women designers?
There's definitely more now than maybe like 5 years ago. I think people are less afraid to, speak up now. And because of everything going on in the world, everyone is super supportive of promoting female designers, or people of color, or just more diversity in general. So that's super helpful. It doesn't mean that we, as like myself as a female, like it's not like I'm looking for handouts or looking for the easy way or the easy path or whatever. It's just like just being accepted and not judged based on just being a woman. Like just look at the game, not who designed it. Like
Yeah, but there definitely comes a point where I feel like the people, some people are inspired by others that are kind of taking stage, and people will look at designers like, oh wow, that's was really inspiring story, and it was very a personal project that came out of
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so for your game Ducks in Tow, what was kind of your inspiration for that one?
So I love ducks, and anyone that knows me knows I love ducks. There's a bird sanctuary where I live, where you can literally just walk in. You can go buy a bag of seeds, and then you walk through a park, and you can feed the birds there. And there's a ton of ducks. So when I feed them, I'm just like surrounded by ducks, and I'm like basically in heaven. So that's kind of what the game is based off of. So you're like walking around a park, you feed the ducks, and then they follow you. So yeah, very, very heavy on the theme.
Yeah, it seems very both like really interesting to see when it's set up and you have a trail of ducks following you, and also very thematic and obviously very personal
Yeah.
story for you.
Yes.
Do you feel like you had the idea for the game first, or were you just like, I want to make a game about ducks, I love ducks?
A little bit of both. Definitely like, oh, I definitely want to make a game about ducks.
Mhm.
That's for sure. um, but actually the original, or like the very, very first idea we had was so far from what it became. It actually started as a dexterity game,
Mm.
and it was just way too hard. Like to play the game, it was way too hard. So we were like, okay, we'll change it. And then suddenly we had this amazing idea of making the ducks follow you, because that's kind of super cute, and that's kind of what happens to me when I'm at the park, and I really like that feeling. So put it into a board game, and so that's kind of how it became a thing. Is like, oh yeah, I want ducks to follow me, and then so we had to visually create this thing. Like, how do we make it look like the ducks are following you on the board? And so it became a meeple with duck meeples literally like right behind you, and then we had to figure out how to make them follow you without it being messy, because our original prototype, the ducks are just, you move them with you so they can get knocked over, they can you know shift around. And so we designed a thing where the ducks can place right in it, and it's attached to your meeple, so when you move your meeple, the ducks are going to follow you, like they're already attached.
Yeah, it's such a small little change just to change one component, but it makes a world of difference because it's
Mm-hmm.
visually creates that moment
Mm-hmm.
and kind of brings everyone right down to like, oh yeah, the ducks are following me.
Yeah, when people see it in person, they're like, oh, it's so cute. Like it actually looks like they're following you. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes yeah, it's just getting the little touches makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and there hasn't been very many games that are, what I like to call like cozy games where you're just doing very small mundane tasks, but you're doing it in a very relaxing way. Yeah. Do you have did you do the artwork for it, or where did you get the artwork?
Andrew Bosley did the artwork. So if you played Everdale, he's the guy who did all the artwork for Everdale, and he's done a lot more stuff since then. But as soon as I saw Everdale, I loved his art. And then when I designed this game, I knew for sure that I wanted him to do the art. Just I knew it would fit. I knew it would be perfect, and it is. So I'm super thankful to him for that.
Do you have a favorite piece of artwork out of it?
On the box cover, there's a pond, and then um, there's a duck with his butt in the air, which means he's like diving for food. I don't know. Every time I see duck's butt like floating in the air, it makes me laugh. So yeah.
It's the duck signal. Butt up in the air. Yeah, that's really cool. A small little touch that a lot of people probably wouldn't notice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now you're 3 games in. What has been your experiences with Kickstarter? Going through there.
It's madness. There's just so much to do, and you think you're prepared, and you'll always find out, oh, I'm missing this or I'm missing that, and you're already live, and shoot, I need to do this, I need to do that. Yeah, every time we do a Kickstarter, it's like, okay, this time we're going to be prepared. We know what mistakes we made last time, and for sure we know we got it this time. No, you're always missing something.
Would you have any advice to give to new people who are looking to start a Kickstarter campaign?
Take your time. Do not rush it, because you will miss stuff, guaranteed. Like even people who have been doing it like more than 5 times, there's just so much going on in a board game campaign. It's so easy to miss stuff, like super easy. So even like veterans are gonna miss stuff. So like take your time, don't rush anything. Double triple check everything.
Yeah, one number wrong can really make a big difference.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's
sorry.
also hard because we're Canadian. So when we run the Kickstarter, it's in Canadian dollars. So we always have to write in the approximate American exchange rate. So that always is easy to mess up as well. So if you're American, you're fine. But if you're doing it from any other country and you're trying to show like in American dollars, like trying to make sure that's accurate is, yeah, another headache.
Yeah, when you get a quote for a printer, it's usually in American dollars,
Yes,
and
exactly.
you,
Yeah.
you need to remember that because
Yeah.
sometimes that's like, oh wait, that's a lot more than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, had a question that just jumped out of my brain right now. Um, oh, sorry. So you said you were a fan of video games earlier on. Was there any video games that you really enjoyed at the time that kind of like inspired you?
Well, I've been gaming since I was like in elementary school. So I've played all the Blizzard games, like from very first Warcraft to World of Warcraft, like all the Diablo, Starcrafts, all the Blizzard games. So when World of Warcraft came out, like I super loved the style and artwork and everything. And so I actually also went to art school. So I work in the film industry doing artwork. So that kind of also helps us when we need to do artwork. Both my partner and I are artists. So we do a lot of the artwork and graphic design in-house, which is quite nice. Saves a lot of money.
Yeah,
like we want to work with other artists, we just don't have the funding, so at least we can do it ourselves.
it's good to fall back on that. You have that option. What's it like working with a significant other in a business that you're working together?
It's funny you asked that. Most recently, we've been preparing for Gen Con. So we've been pumping out artwork for our new game. And we're staying up super late every night working on stuff. And then we have a day job as well. And after the day job ends, we go back to working on stuff. So we've just like been exhausting ourselves. And so because of that, we got to a point where we're kind of like nagging at each other and nitpicking each other's work and you know, just little things here and there that build up and then suddenly you snap kind of thing. So that happened to us the other day, and we're just like, normally like we don't fight a lot, but we know we're tired. We know it's because we're tired. And so we don't really like fuss over it, but it's like it can definitely happen. But at least we both know we're like, you know, we're both chill, like we can just calm down. We're tired. Like we're basically saying the same thing. We're just not understanding each other because we're tired. But yeah, no, normally it's great. It's nice to be in the same house working because it's just easier to communicate. I don't have to email someone. I don't have to wait for their response. And so normally it's great.
Yeah, it's good to have a couple like boundaries if things get wrong at work, that we don't bring it home. Yeah. So you said you had a day job. Do you guys work together during the day as well, or?
So we both work from home.
Okay.
We also work for the same company currently. We work in the visual effects industry for TV and film. So yeah, we basically sit at a desk together the whole day and then keep sitting at the desk together all night working on the game. So yeah, it's a lot. Like I feel like if we had, you know, weren't working from home and we went to different offices during the day and then you come home, like at least you're not staring at each other all day. But because we're both working from home, it's like, yeah, we literally stare at each other all day. And maybe that might not work for some people. I'm glad it works for us until we get too tired.
Yeah, it seems like you've been pretty fortunate so far. So that's really good.
Yes. We haven't killed each other yet, so.
The next game, maybe. Yeah, so would you find it exciting if at some point a movie gets adapted of one of your games and you get to do the visual effects for the movie of Ducks in Tow?
Oh God. I mean, ideally we can go board time full time and we won't need the other job, but for now, yeah, we're still building up, you know, we're still considered, you know, a very small company in the board game world. Like a lot of people come by our booth at conventions and like, oh, we've never heard of you, but we've been around for like 6-7 years almost. So it's like, yeah, we're still considered very small, even if we have 3 games out. So yeah.
Yeah. How do you find balancing between both designing new games and working on as a publisher to go to conventions, go to get advertising, get videos and stuff done? How do you find that balance?
I definitely have a lot less time to do my own designs because we do sign contracts with other designers. We then have to, you know, focus. If we've signed a contract, we have to focus on that game, which takes away from our own design. So we've it's not a bad thing because we still just want to make games, right? But it would be nice to do another design with just us because yeah, I think the next couple games are probably going to be signed from others just because we don't have time to do our own yet.
Yeah, at least get more stuff out there to kind of make sure that you still have a big presence in the design world. Yeah, that's noble. I can agree with that. Yeah, so so again, kind of touching back on movies, we don't really see many board game movie adaptations yet, and I was wondering what you think of that.
I mean, I just think the industry's not that big yet. I mean, it feels big to us. It's grown a lot in the last 5-10 years, but it's still nowhere near video game level in my mind. And but not very often do video games get made into movies. So if not many video games get made, like in as big of an industry as it is, the chance of like a board game doing it is quite low. But in reverse, like a lot of board games are made based on video games or movies. So it's like it goes the other way better than board game going to video game or movie.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of movie adaptation board games have done really well, been critically reviewed well, and have been successful. Yeah, that's exciting. Maybe more people should have seen the Battleship movie. Maybe that'll have done it.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions I have for you today. Is there anywhere for people who want to find out more about your games and the publishing? Is there a website or a Twitter I can follow?
Yeah, very easy to remember. Our website is firstfishgames.com, and all our social media handles are First Fish Games. Easy to remember.
Super easy. Great. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for your time during this call.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you.